My parents just did something so devastating to me, I don't know how to recover from this. Guys, I got accepted to my dream college. Well, my parents withdrew me from the school because apparently they're paying half my tuition, even though I got a scholarship. But hey, it's right, they are paying for board, room, books, food, and a couple other things, but they withdrew me because they are saying something so stupid. Now, I would understand if they didn't have the money, but here's what they're saying. The reason that they did that is because my sister is jealous that she can't get into a good college, so they don't want to hurt her little feelings. Yeah, this is just my future on the line. My parents favor my twin sister Nadia more than me. I know these are strong statements, but hear me out. Growing up, I always knew something was different about how my parents treated my twin sister Nadia. I'm confident enough to say that I was the gifted one. I just love learning, solving problems, and giving all to achieve what I wanted. Nadia, on the other hand, was different. She wasn't necessarily lazy, but she thrived on attention, and if she wasn't the center of it, she made sure that she was. Given these circumstances, one would think our parents would, quote, love me more because I appear to be the golden child. But that's not the case. When we were kids, it was small things. If I got a good grade, she would suddenly remember she lost her homework and she needed help with it. If I was praised for something, she would pout until my parents scolded me for showing off. Whenever I came home with an award, my parents would give me a strained smile and tell me, "Don't rub it in Nadia's face." If I excelled at something, the conversation wasn't about how proud they were of me, but about how Nadia must be feeling overshadowed. As we grew older, those small things snowballed into something far worse. Because by the time we hit high school, it came to the point that I was used to being told to, quote, tone it down a notch so Nadia wouldn't feel bad. My parents would tell me not to join clubs that might make me stand out or keep my awards and certificates tucked away. It was always about Nadia. How would Nadia feel if I did well? How could Nadia shine if I was in the spotlight? Who in their right mind would tell their child that? Imagine being told to dim your own light just so someone else doesn't feel bad about not shining so brightly. At first, I thought it was normal. I thought all families worked this way, where only children had to shrink themselves so the other could feel large, especially if they were twins. I thought it made sense because, well, we were twins, we should be equal, right? So I stopped telling them about my accomplishments, and I let Nadia copy my homework, my projects, and anything to keep the peace. She wasn't shy about taking credit either, lol. My parents clapped for her like she was winning some world championship award while I stood silently in the background. I was okay with our setup because no matter how much I gave, it was never enough. My parents acted like my existence was a threat to Nadia's self-esteem. Not until Nadia showed her true colors to me. I guess Nadia could not stand the thought of me succeeding while she was just doing average or even failing. Her hate towards me started subtly. She would roll her eyes whenever I talked about my dream school. Or she would make comments like, "Must be nice being smart." Then it escalated as she started comparing herself to me constantly, saying she deserved the same opportunities because we were twins and were basically the same. I even overheard her telling a friend that I wasn't even that smart, and that the only reason I worked so hard was because I had nothing else to offer. I mean, I don't get her. What's the point of doing all that? Despite everything, I didn't lose hope. I continued doing my best in hope that someday I could get away from the unfair treatment of our house. I endured everything because I kept telling myself it would all be worth it once I graduated from my dream school. So I'd say what? For years I worked my butt off, balancing schoolwork, extracurriculars, and part-time jobs to build the perfect resume. When I finally applied, I felt this glimmer of hope. I'm tired of always being the one compromising and making sacrifices so Nadia can shine. So I promised myself that this time, I'll put myself first against all odds. But the second Nadia found out, everything just got so messed up. She starts throwing tantrums and told our parents that she could not bear to be separated from me, and that it was unfair for me to leave. She cried about how much she would miss me, how much she needed me, and how she could not survive without her twin by her side. She told them that if I moved away, it would tear the family apart. If I had not known her my entire life, I might have believed it, but I knew better. My parents, of course, took her side, and they tried convincing me to stay and called me selfish for wanting to leave. Of course, I didn't want to give up the thing that would let me escape my unfair parents, but when I refused, they still didn't leave me alone. I didn't realize how far they were willing to go until exam day. On the day of the entrance examination, I arrived at the school with butterflies in my stomach. I was nervous, but I just thought to myself that was the beginning of my freedom. I was really confident that I could pass it, but then I checked the list of names for the entrance exam. Mine wasn't there. I thought it had to be some kind of mistake, so I rushed to the admin office explaining that I passed the initial screening and everything and was allowed to take the exam. The look on the admin's face told me everything before she even said a word. My application had been withdrawn by my own parents. Guys, I fell to the ground. Yeah, how could they do that to me? I felt so betrayed and lost all hope. All those years of sacrifice, all the late nights and early mornings, gone because Nadia couldn't handle the idea of me having something she didn't even want in the first place. When I confronted my parents, they didn't even deny it and said they did it for family, that Nadia needed me more than I needed school. They acted like they were doing me a favor, like I'd understand eventually, and I couldn't even look at them, because every time I did, my chest felt tight like I was suffocating. I couldn't wrap my head around their behavior. Are they really my parents? Am I actually adopted? Because I can't think of a single reason why they're like this. I couldn't face them, so I locked myself in my room for days and refused to speak. I snuck out every midnight to get food in the kitchen. Went to school so early that they weren't even awake and came home so late that they were already in their bedroom. I replayed the scene over and over in my head, trying to figure out if I missed something. If I could have done more, better, I don't know, or fought harder to stand my ground. But the truth of the matter was, well, I did. It was never going to be enough for them because their priority wasn't fairness or love, it was Nadia. Nadia. She just acted like nothing happened. She was always loitering around me, smiling, laughing, like she was rubbing it in my face that she just crushed my dreams. She even had the audacity to tell me that maybe it was, quote, for the best because I would have been too stressed at the school anyways, and then smirked before leaving my room. In the meantime, I tried to reach out to the university, hoping that there was some way to reinstate my application. But it was too late because the deadline passed, and my spot was full. I couldn't let it in like this, so for the past few weeks, I started applying to other schools, but even as I filled out the application after application, I couldn't shake the bitterness in my chest. Then last week, I overheard Nadia talking to one of her friends. She was bragging about how she, quote, had saved me for going to my dream school and laughed, saying I was always so predictable, always doing the right thing like a good girl, and that she knew exactly how to play our parents. I froze. It was one thing to suspect Nadia has been manipulating everyone, but it was another to hear it out of her mouth. My blood boiled, that was it. I realized that even though I went to my dream school or any other school, I couldn't escape the cruelness of my parents, even if I didn't leave them right away. That night, I made a decision that I was done playing nice. If my parents and Nadia wanted to treat me like I was not their daughter or a sister, I would show them what that felt like. I packed my things and moved out with Grandpa, without telling my family. I couldn't tell him the truth, and he respected that, but he assured me that he was just there if I felt ready. I also asked him not to tell my parents that I was with him. Then last night, my parents called and begged me to come back home. Apparently, Nadia's true nature was becoming impossible to ignore because she was now skipping school, because she couldn't do her work. She was flunking her classes and lashing out at everyone. I felt a sick sense of satisfaction hearing their panic. But I could not get out of my mind, though they only called me because of Nadia and not because they were concerned about my well-being. Come to think of it, they didn't even call me the last few days to ask my whereabouts. So they were not concerned about me, right? They didn't even care if I was gone, so my question to you guys is, am I the a-hole for running away from home and not telling my parents? Update number 1. Hey guys, so it's been a week, and the calls and messages from them have not stopped until I blocked them. They tried every platform to reach me, from text to emails, even mutual acquaintances sending me their love and apologies. Many of you told me that I'm not the a-hole, and I appreciate the validation, but still few say that I am. I get it. Family's important, and some even put their family first before themselves, and I was only once like that. For years, ever since we were children, I've put their wants first, even at the cost of my own well-being. And now that I'm standing up for myself, some of you are trying to make me a villain? How dare you? If you think I'm selfish, I hope you never have to endure what I've gone through. Anyways, after my realization when they called me, I started ignoring them, and it wasn't easy. I didn't answer all of their calls and any messages they sent me. I kept telling myself that I was doing the right thing, but after some time I started feeling guilty. So I answered a call. I was foolishly hoping that they had something real to say, but they were just saying the same thing. Mom cried, saying they'd made a mistake and they needed me back to, quote, fix things. Well, not for me, of course, but for them, for Nadia. I was furious all over again, and at first I tried to rationalize it. If they truly cared about me, they would have called to ask where I was when I left. No days later, when Nadia's life started to get messy, they didn't want me back because they missed me or cared about me. They wanted me back to clean up their mess, and I hung up and blocked their numbers. When other relatives got a hold of the situation, some of them reached out to me and told me to stop being so selfish. They called me ungrateful and heartless and said that I was overreacting, that family was everything, and that I should swallow my pride for everyone's sake. I didn't know how to respond to them. Now, I couldn't help but think that I was really selfish, but at the same time, not wrong, because I only did what I thought was best for me. On top of that, how could they say something like that when they don't even know the whole story? They didn't even bother asking me why I moved out in the first place. Right now, I'm just trying to do my best to excel in school. If I want a brighter future and a good university, well, I still have to graduate first, LOL. Updates. Number 2. Hey guys, a lot of you were angry with my friends and were telling me that they were really not my friends if they could not tell me the rumor. I know where you guys are coming from, I get it. Don't worry, I know the rumor. They couldn't tell me the truth because Nadia threatened them that she would ruin their lives before we even graduated from school. Everyone who knows Nadia knows that she doesn't play with her threat. As for the actual rumor, she actually told everyone in the school that I was kicked out of the house because I stole from our parents and sold them to buy drugs. I know it's ridiculous. Did she not think that our parents would also get dragged because of the rumor she started? People would think our parents can't discipline their children, so literally it's dumb. Oh my gosh. It's so absurd that when I first heard it, I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was ridiculous. I couldn't wrap my head around how far she was willing to go to ruin me. She's a desperate little liar. I wish I could say it didn't bother me, but it did. It really did. At first I tried to brush it off. It was too unrealistic to take seriously, right? But the more I thought about it, the more I got scared. What if these lies reached the school admin? What if they believed her? My academic record could be tarnished because her petty need to destroy me. I know I couldn't just sit around waiting for Nadia to ruin me again. I had to do something, but what? Confronting Nadia directly would only irritate her more, so I took a different route. I managed to convince some people to stand up with me and that if we worked together, Nadia could not threaten us. Then when we went to the school admin to tell them the truth, at first they seemed hesitant, probably worried that they would be meddling with a family affair, but others spoke up and bounced Nadia's bullying and eventually launched a full-blown investigation. Nadia and our parents were called into the principal's office, and I didn't see what happened in there, but I heard about it afterward. Of course, she tried to deny everything. But after everyone heard about us stepping up, others eventually did too. There was too much evidence and witness statements that the admin could not let it go. By the end of the week, the school issued an official statement clearing my name and warning students about spreading false rumors. As for Nadia, the school didn't even punish her, not harsh enough at least, but they did revoke her leadership position and banned her from extracurricular activities for the rest of the year. It wasn't the justice I wanted, but it was okay, rather than not being punished at all. Update number 3. Months have passed. It's been months since the old fiasco at Nadia's school thing. Our parents just kept showing their worst. Later that day, when we reported Nadia, they kept texting and calling me with new phone numbers telling me hurtful things about I'm bringing shame to our family, when in fact it was Nadia. What's worse is that until now, they still haven't asked about my whereabouts, who I'm with, where I'm staying, or if I'm even eating. They're literally the worst. And now they have the audacity to do that kind of thing. At that point, I thought I could just let it pass. I wanted them to be completely out of my life, so I decided to tell Grandpa the truth, so he could help me. Of course, he was livid when I told him what happened. He apologized and promised that he would help me achieve what I wanted. Graduation was just a few months away, and yet I still didn't have a school. I was losing my hope and was crying every night, and I was too ashamed to tell Grandpa the truth, because he's already done so much for me. I don't know how, but one night I received an invitation letter from a university that was even better than my original choice. I never even considered applying because I thought that I wouldn't stand a chance. Apparently, Grandpa made a few calls and used her connections with Grandma, and a few days after the entrance exam, we received the news I got in. Grandpa even insisted on paying for everything. Yay! Tuition, books, housing. So I would not have to rely on my parents ever again. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe, but my peace did not last long. I don't know how she knew, but Nadia showed up at our grandpa's house a few weeks ago, and I thought she finally realized her mistake and was going to apologize. But she didn't even say sorry or make any attempts to mend things. She threatened me. Nadia warned me to, quote, keep my mouth shut about the real reason why I ran away, because I was ruining her reputation. She threatened that she would spread a rumor on Facebook and Instagram if I didn't comply. You want to know the rumor? That I cheated my way into the university with our grandfather's money. I was flabbergasted. How could she do this? I was about to argue with her when Grandpa arrived, and that's when she starts to sob, begging to come home, and told Grandpa that they really miss me. She even said that she was sorry for everything that she did and could not handle the guilt of what she's done. But I would no longer be able to play toy. I told her to leave, and Grandpa did not even stop me. But before she left, I whispered into her ear that if she did not stop with her antics, I would tell Grandpa her plans, and I would ask him to ruin her. Of course, it's not true, lol. I just wanted to scare her off. Update number 4. Hey guys, so months have passed since my latest update. I finally graduated 3 days ago. That's right, thank you. Well, and I'm still processing everything that's happened. Walking across the stage, hearing my name called, speaking in front of everyone, and feeling the weight of years of struggle fall off my shoulders, but what made it unforgettable was Grandpa's gift. I couldn't believe it when he told me that he had removed my parents from the will because of how horrible they were. And Nadia, well, she's no longer in the will either. Let me tell you, I didn't ask Grandpa to make my parents and Nadia pay for what they've done. Honestly, I would not have even dared to suggest such a thing. I mean, I can't ask him to punish his own family, right? I never wanted him to feel like he had to choose a side. But for the past few months, while I was trying to sort my life out, Grandpa was actually quietly digging into the truth. He hired a PI. Grandpa said that after everything that went down, he wasn't going to let them benefit from his hard work when they treated me like dirt. It felt so surreal because I never thought that I would see this kind of justice. As for Nadia, Grandpa did not want to be cruel to her, so he didn't plan on removing her from the will at first. According to him, he was thinking that Nadia could change or that she was just suffering from mental illness and decided that he would, well, help her instead. But according to the PI, Nadia had been actively sabotaging me. The PI found out about Nadia's false rumors about me and her attempt to turn people against me, all because she couldn't stand the thought of me succeeding where she had failed. She wanted me to fail because my success made her feel small. Grandpa could not stomach their hypocrisy anymore, so he cut them completely. He said that he could not stomach watching them leech off his hard work while they destroyed their own child and sister. A day after my graduation, he called a family meeting. During the meeting, he told them everything. Now they know what happened, and I could see how some of them felt ashamed for calling me names because I ran away. Anyways, Grandpa calmly explained what he found out, why he was removing my parents and Nadia from his will, and why he was investigating everything on me instead. Nadia tried to defend herself, crying and claiming that she's been misunderstood. My parents sat there stunned and speechless, but then realized what happened and started hugging me and caressing my hair while crying, trying to apologize. They tried to beg, but Grandpa and I were not buying it. He told them their actions had spoken louder than any excuse ever could. Final update, it's been years. Hey guys, I know it's been years and I'm looking back at this thread. I didn't expect that new people were still reading my post. It's hilarious, but I'll give a short update. Nadia, well, I always saw her as my go-to cafe. And she's now a barista there. We don't talk except if she's the one assigned to the cashier. But yeah, we're civil. I heard she could not get into college because our parents could not afford the school she wanted to go to, so for years, she was a stay-at-home daughter until she fell in love with coffee making. Haha. As for my parents, well, they tried to reconcile with me and always sent long messages about how they changed, how they miss me, how they want to start over. I would like to say I felt some kind of closure, but the truth is, I didn't feel much of anything. But as for me, life has been pretty peaceful. That's the best word I can go about describing it. Right now, I'm trying to get my master's degree, and I finally moved into my new apartment of my own. It was a few months ago. I've also got a job, so my boyfriend and I both pay the bills. Yeah, boyfriend, haha. I know I've been living the life I want and deserve, but I know too that I'm not there yet. I've come a long way, and I'm very thankful for that.